Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is ExtremeDJ48. Before we start with this video, please be sure to, if you have absolutely no idea what anything in Warhammer 40,000 is, I would highly recommend you guys check out Bricky's Every Factions in 40k Explained videos. They unfortunately are a little bit long, but granted, at this point, if you're going into this video not knowing anything, then you're kind of just shooting yourself in the foot here. So feel free to come back to this video later when you have a better understanding of just the world of 40k at the very least. Do a little bit of research if you want, go onto the wiki. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and without further ado, let us begin. Following the end of the Horus heresy with the death of Horus Lupercal, Primarch of the Sons of Horus and Servant of the Dark Gods, the remaining loyalists of the Imperium of Man would enter a period known as the Great Scouring, relentlessly hunting the retreating traitorous forces led by the remaining loyalist Primarchs and killing heretics across the ravaged galaxy for decades. To prevent another Horus Heresy-like event from occurring, Rabute Gilman, Primarch of the Ultramarines and Lord Commander of the Imperium, would separate the Loyalist legions into independent chapters of no more than 1,000 Space Marines each through the Codex Astartes. The White Scars, led by their Primarch Jagatai Khan, had seldom functioned like the rest of their fellow legions during the Great Crusade and later the Horus Heresy, and the Codex Astartes basically just made their way of organization the standard across the entire Adeptus Astartes. Returning to the Yasin sector of their homeworld of Mundus Planus, more commonly known as Chigoris in the Ultima Segmentum, the Khan and his sons would find the system in ruins from Drukhari raiders who had taken tens of thousands of locals as prisoners. The Khan of Khans vowed vengeance and led his warriors against the Drukhari raiders. After 5 standard Terran years passed, the hunt for the Drukhari in the Yasin sector still continued. The Steel Falcons, who were formerly the 15th Brotherhood, or chapter, of the White Scars Legion, with their fleet, including their flagship battle barge, the Piercing Talon, were chasing a Drukhari ship near Cirillo Prime on the outskirts of the Yasin sector when the Xenos vessel went through a webway portal in an attempt to escape. The Talon was too close to veer away, and it, along with the 3 veteran companies of the chapter aboard it, disappeared into the webway. While in pursuit of the Drukhari ship, a portion of the mortal crew and Astartes were corrupted by Slaanesh through their desire to gain more speed to catch up to the Drukhari ship. Fighting then began between the loyalist Steel Falcons and the traitors, who now called themselves the Nova Phoenixes. For 5 months, the civil war raged on board the town, taking many lives, including the life of then Chapter Master, or Noyan Khan, Bortu, until finally, led by Lorkol, the captain of the First Company, who killed the traitorous leader Horton, former Second Company captain, and the rest of his remaining men, the loyalists slaughtered the traitors, and Chief Stormseer Galnud personally took the place of the slain mortal navigator, permanently binding himself to the navigation chair of the piercing talon. Using his psychic power, he brought the ship out of the webway in orbit above Chagoris as the Red Corsairs and Chaos forces led by Huron Blackheart were attacking the home system of the White Scars. The Steel Falcons, despite being utterly exhausted from such a long fight in the webway, descended to the surface of Chagoris and helped their fellow Gene brothers fend off the combined demon and traitor attack on the White Scars fortress of Quanzhou. In the aftermath of the war, the chapter learned the history of the Imperium during their time away, including the disappearance of their Primarch, the launching of the Indominus Crusade, the return of Guilliman, the Primaris Marines, and other events leading up to the 41st millennium. Receiving their Primaris reinforcements from the Indomitable Crusade, Lorkol was chosen as the next Chapter Master, or Noyan Khan, of the Steel Falcons, after he crossed the Rubicon Primaris, the extremely dangerous surgical operation that allowed first-generation Space Marines to become Primaris Marines, provided they actually survived the procedure. The chapter changed their heraldic colors in honor of their time in the webway, which became known as the Astral Hunt. They now patrol Imperium Sanctus, assisting Imperial forces wherever they are needed, striking like hawks in swift, decisive attacks that cull the enemy of its most powerful and important forces before disengaging and striking elsewhere or flying off to the next war zone. While many of the current members of the chapter are firstborn Astartes from the days of the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy, several have crossed the Rubicon Primaris. Thanks to their connections, however, their records were altered, so, according to Imperial archives, the Steel Falcons are an Ultima founding chapter of the White Scars, with a select few outside of the chapter aware of the Astral Hunt and the chapter's true origin. Many of the Space Marines who survived the Astral Hunt, despite their success, feel shamed, however, as they were not there to help in the 10,000 years between the Great Scouring and the current day. They also feel that they failed their Primarch, Jagatai Khan, and that if he did return, they feel he would scorn them as incompetent failures. It is for this reason that the chapter seeks out battle wherever they can and do their best to safeguard mortal humans. And while they have a strong respect for history and its preservation, they do their best to safeguard humanity and especially the Yasin sector as a sort of atonement for their absence during their time in the webway. Unlike most of their fellow Astartes, they view the mortal humans of the Imperium, and especially the children of those mortal humans, as the vital key to the future of humanity. And so, there have been several instances where members of the chapter have fought tooth and nail to defend even a singular mortal from the enemies of the Imperium. Being baffled by how a regular Stormseer can pilot their battle barge, the chapter has no idea how Chief Stormseer Galnud will ever be able to walk again. Galnud, despite being unable to move on, believes that his current state is a test from the Emperor to him personally, because of his now closer interaction with the Astronomicon and the Emperor himself. The Chief Stormseer frequently has seen visions of his Primarch in the webway and the Emperor on the Golden Throne, though everyone on board treats these episodes of visions with extreme caution, as especially early on, when he started to have them, the piercing talon would suddenly warp to random locations in the galaxy and left any Steel Falcon not on the vessel stranded on whichever planet or moon they were fighting on, hostile or not, until the ship returned to its previous location. Now, navigators are made to sit beside Galnud in order to help him pilot the ship, but this also allows Galnud to help protect the Psyker from any attempts by demons to possess them. But there's a side effect, because this results in more powerful demons being drawn to him and the Psyker, and the possession of either the Chief Stormseer or the Navigator of the Piercing Talon will likely result in the possession, if not the death, of the other. Aside from traveling all over the Imperium Sanctus in order to fight the enemies of mankind, the chapter is also trying to find a way to free Galnud from his imprisonment, as it is important to note that the White Scars as a whole believe that to be confined in any such way, such as the internment in a dreadnought or being stuck in a ship's navigator chair and being unable to move, is the most torturous experience imaginable. Now, in the modern day of Warhammer 40,000, the Steel Falcons are currently engaged with the Orc Wa of Gazgul Megaruk Thraka in the third, actually fourth, but the Imperium doesn't know anything about the first war, for Armageddon, fighting alongside their fellow chapters and millions of Imperial forces to hold the legendary Hive World from the Green Tide. Alright, so now that you guys have sort of a story of what the Steel Falcons are all about, their origin, it's time that we actually get to the good part, learning to cosplay as them. So for those of you who have been with the channel for, at least within the last couple months, I have been working on not only Space Marine 2, because it's where I initially got my idea for creating the Steel Falcons, but also on the tabletop, which I officially have a very small army. It is pretty diverse, in my opinion, but obviously this is coming from a guy who started the tabletop hobby and hasn't done a single battle, and has only assembled and, at the time of recording, somewhat painted them in like the last month or so. But regardless, allow me to show you guys how exactly you are to create if you want to cosplay as a Steel Falcon in your Space Marine 2. And then eventually, once I finish the paint job, I will be sending out posts and potentially doing a video of what paints you would need if you were looking to get into the tabletop and wanted to do a Steel Falcon, at least like one figure, because I know you have your own stuff. But anyway, let's get down to it. Alright, so here is my currently my highest hero, that being the Assault class in Space Marine 2. So as it stands right now, this is Lorkul Khan. This is Lorkul Khan, the Noyan Khan, the chapter master of the Steel Falcons. He led the chapter through the Astral Hunt after the prior Noyan Khan was killed, and now he leads the chapter from the deck of the Piercing Talon, descending like a thunderous, crashing meteor onto the battlefields against the Imperium's enemies. Alright, but this is obviously Lorkul's, and this is obviously, there are some alterations because of the different armor types. So, instead, I'm going to utilize Tactical. I'm going to utilize the Tactical, and I'm going to show you guys, with the standard issue, what exactly you are to put in order to cosplay as a Steel Falcon. So, let's go to start chapters. Alright, so as mentioned before, the Steel Falcons didn't usually have this heraldry. The only thing that really doesn't really change is the left knee decal and their insignia. Obviously, as you guys know, what the hell? Okay, on the thumbnail, there we go, of this video, you will see what the actual icon for the Steel Falcons is. Obviously, that is not in Space Marine 2. So, in order to get the closest thing, I did a whole bunch of grinding, tried to decide which decal I would finally use, and this was the one. So this decal, which we will get to, and the knee decal on the left is the permanent ones. Before the Astral Hunt, the Steel Falcons looked like this. Your kind of generic design. It's still the same design. They've always had that. It's always been the left arm and the right leg as the White Scar White. Again, they aren't proud, but they are reverent in their heritage and the history of their chapter and their legion as a whole. But you'll notice that the difference is in the color. So if you are trying to cosplay as a pre-Astral Hunt member, then you will essentially need the following. You'll need for your general rules, you'll need the Eshin Gray as your main color, and Mephiston Red. You will keep the pattern as a solid. There won't be halved pattern, there won't be penitent pattern, and there won't be quartered pattern. No. You are going for the solid pattern. Now, for the custom rules to make this work, you are going to need, for the left pauldron, you will need White Scar for the main color, and Mephiston Gray for the tertiary, the outline of the shoulder. And then you will need the Marine's Malevolent Icon with the Eshin Gray decal color. Now, keep in mind, the Marine's Malevolent Icon, you have to grind to get it. I can't exactly remember which mission it is. If I'm not mistaken, it is the... I think it's you have to execute 2,000 enemies. And that is quite a lot. But if you are trying to go for the full thing, then you're gonna need to do that grind. For the left gauntlet, White Scar for the main and secondary color. It's the full White Scar look for the left arm. The same exact thing for the left greave. No emblem, solid paint pattern, full White Scar. Now, for the left greave is where you are going to change it up, because otherwise you will only have the left pauldron, the left gauntlet, and the right greave. For the left greave, you're still going to keep it Eshin Gray. You're going to keep it a solid pattern. However, the emblem is the third squad marking, or any other marking that you really want. To be completely honest, you can choose any of the White Scar, you could choose any of the White Scar icons. For this one, for me, I have the third squad marking. I think it looks pretty cool. I think it looks the best. And you are going to want a Mephiston Red decal color with Eshin Gray. It is important that the Mephiston is the left decal color and the right is the Eshin Gray. The right one, as you can see, is... Oh, there goes my mouse. The right decal color is for the center right here, while the left is for the outer portions, the outer halves right here. You want the outer portions to be red. Alright, now let's go over what it would be like if you were talking about after the Astral Hunt. So obviously, after the Astral Hunt, the chapter changed their heraldry colors from their white and gray to the white and kind of like a deep green, deep bluish color that you see, that you guys have seen me play a couple of times. So here is how you make it. So it's the same exact thing. Don't bother with this. I don't know why I keep showing this, but the general rules aren't really going to apply. It's the custom rules you want to keep an eye on. So for the helm, you will want a regular paint pattern. I wouldn't do a halved pattern, and I don't have any of the DLC stuff. Or I don't have the DLC stuff for the helm or anything like that. So you'll want for the helm a solid paint pattern of blue, the main color. I forgot exactly where you get this color, but it should be in one of the non-DLC chapter packs. And then you will want the Evil Sun's Scarlet for the lens color. Moving to the backpack, you will want a solid paint pattern with the blue as the main color again. So, again, this is for your standard Marine, as in, like, just joined, just transferred from a neophyte to a full battle brother, so no decorations. For the breastplate, you will want a solid paint pattern with blue, and then Mephiston Red as your main color. Obviously, I don't have any kind of cloth here, and you won't need it, really, for the Steel Falcons. They don't really have, like, they don't really have any of the cloth stuff that the Ultramarines do, so you don't really need it, so it doesn't matter what color it is. It's just set at Wraithbone. For the left pauldron, same thing. White main color for the white scar for the main color, and Mephiston red for the tertiary outline, and then you will want the Marine's Malevolent icon decal with the blue decal color. Before, it was the gray when the armor itself was also gray, but now that they've changed color, it's also changed the color to the blue. Alright, for the right pauldron, it's the same thing, the blue main color, and the Mephiston red for the tertiary, the same thing as the chest. Honestly, for emblem, for like a regular, if you're going tactical, do the battle line icon. It would be white scar white, and then Abaddon black for this, but to be completely honest, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to have a battle icon or an emblem on here. It just needs to be the blue and the Mephiston red. For the left gauntlet, same thing as before, white scar and white scar for both the main and secondary colors. The right gauntlet, it's the polar opposite. You will want blue for both the main color and secondary color, so it'll blend in with the rest of the armor. Then you have the left greave, same thing, we are changing the colors. It's standard solid paint pattern with blue for the main color, and for the emblem, again, I just have the 3rd squad marking decal with the blue decal color, but then the Mephiston red decal color is in the center. Alright, for the right greave, it's the basic one, but you need to have it as a custom rule, otherwise this is going to be the same color as the rest of the armor. So it's regular pattern, white scar main color, and you could honestly put whatever you want, put any of these guys on there, but this is ideally what you will want at the end. And then, of course, obviously, based on different armor sets, you can choose to customize it however you want, but staying with this color design is really what you need, and you can customize the different armor types, the the different pauldrons, the different arms, whatever. You can design that all yourself, but that is how you make the Steel Falcons. So, if you are playing in Space Marine 2, how are you going to play? Well, I stated before, they are a firstborn successor chapter of the White Scars. So it's a lot of hit and run, a lot of very quick melee, and then moving out of the way. They're kind of like an airstrike. I believe the way that I described it in the prior lore video is that it's kind of like summoning a stratagem in Helldivers 2. It's, you type it in, it arrives, it does what it needs to do, and then it disappears or needs to reload. So if you are playing as a Steel Falcon in Space Marine 2, ideally you will want to play as the Assault, the Vanguard, or the Sniper. And then obviously you can go tactical as well. You kind of want to avoid the Bulwark, the Heavy, and the Tech Marine. So again, Assault, Vanguard, and Sniper are your preferred ones. If you want to go tactical, you're welcome to. Steer away of the Bulwark, Tech Marine, and the Heavy. That's really it, guys. Oh, one more thing. So Lorcal Khan, right here, so obviously there are the different loadouts with the recent update, but here is exactly the perks that I'm using as an Assault, so you guys will get a look at how I play. So for the core abilities, I have Armor Reinforcement, Non-Finisher Gun Strikes, restore 1 armor segment. You have Auxiliary Arsenal, secondary weapon damage is increased by 20%, and then Knowledge of the Enemy, which increases melee damage by 15% against Majoris and Extremis enemies. For team, you have the Strategic Strikes. All squad members deal 20 more melee damage against Extremis and Terminus level enemies. For the gear, you have Furious Strikes. Hitting an enemy with an attack after Jump Pack Dash restores Jump Pack ability charge by 1 and cooldowns 10 seconds. Zealous Blow, a ground pound kill, restores Jump Pack's charge by 10%. And then Aerial Grace, after a perfectly timed dodge using a Jump Pack dash, you deal 30% more damage for 10 seconds. And then finally for the signature, honestly, you can go with any of these if you really want, but the one I go with is Commitment. A perfectly timed dodge uses jump pack dash to restore the armor ability. I really just do that because I'm trying to get the assault signature, like the assault ordeal, where you have to do 200 perfectly timed dodges with the jump pack, which is stupid. But if I had to choose one that I would go back to, it could be, it honestly could be either of the three of these. I just have Commitment on right now. If I had to choose, it would be the Ample Ammunition, because it would reload the ranged equipment and it increases damage for 50 seconds, or sorry, for 50% for 10 seconds. But I could also go for Ascension. Again, it's really up to you which one you want to go for, because all of these are relatively good. For the Prestige, this one I did reset a while ago. I used to have one where it was the increased range damage, but I've geared it more towards being a in-close fighter to be more lore accurate. So you will want Duelist, Perfect Parry, and Perfect Block windows increased by 25%. Hammer of Wrath. After using your jump pack, you take 30% less range damage and do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, as well as cannot be knocked back for 15 seconds. Scrambled targeting. If you are surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you take 20% less damage from ranged attacks. And then Fortitude health increases by 15%. So the whole purpose behind this build is that you're in the air and you are doing a ground pound into the enemy formation. As soon as you land, you immediately have your damage increased. You take less ranged damage, which is probably the most annoying damage type in Space Marine 2, I think, at least in my opinion. And you are just looking to get in, create some havoc with a bunch of melee damage, and then get out of there. Or, especially with the Zealous Blow that restores the jump pack, you're looking to kill a lot of the Minoris enemies so that you can just keep doing ground pound, jump, ground pound, jump, ground pound, jump, and just do that cycle as much as you can, and really just deprive the enemy of really being able to do much when you are descending into the fray. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will take it back to myself for the final remarks. Okay. Yeah, and that is it for the episode. I gotta be honest, guys, writing and coming up with the history and the characters that are going to be in the Steel Falcons, and obviously, it's not perfect nor complete. There obviously could be some expansion, there could be some clarification if I got anything wrong, if I got certain facts wrong. It could always use some work, but as it stands right now, I am incredibly happy, both with the tabletop as well as with just the writing that I've done. This is my very first homebrew Space Marine chapter. I do have others on the way, and I will be getting to those. But for me, and I'll probably have a video later on talking about why I love the White Scars so much, and why I just love Jagatai Khan, because he's so awesome. Probably my favorite, no, he is my favorite Primarch. But I'll do that in a separate video. But it was just so fun coming up with the design initially before I even decided to put this on the channel, and then all the support you guys have given me from the painting and assembly streams, which I know they're kind of all over the place, and I'm kind of going slow with it, but I'm making progress. I'm doing it at my own pace. Yeah, and just sharing my creations with you guys, not just in 40K stuff, but just in general, is probably the biggest thing for me right now. Is the writing and the creation of factions or characters is really what drives my channel at the current moment. I still do gaming, but just like having my own takes on different parts of different series and how events play out, especially in 40K, I'm really excited by. which, by the way, congratulations 40k fans, we are officially in 11th edition. But yeah, that's going to be it, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell to get notified about my latest videos. And as always, a link will be down below in the description for you guys to join the channel Discord, where you get to interact with other subscribers and members of the channel. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.